Now, one of the things that Val, Pete and myself enjoy most is sitting down in the office and to read your rather nice letters. But just once in a while, the odd one comes through that isn't quite so nice, and it's usually addressed to me because I've done something or other quite wrong. Usually the letters say I don't speak properly, or they complain about my Yorkshire accent. Well, I don't think this is fair, you know, because if you've been brought up in Halifax, then you too would have a Yorkshire accent. But I must admit, sometimes when I get a bit excited, I get my words all muddled up. Like just before Christmas, I said sporks and foons instead of spoons and forks. But my most terrifying experience was when I tried to read the news. The Blue Peter cameras were filming me at the time, and I wish they hadn't been, because it meant there's now a permanent record of one of the most embarrassing days I ever spent on Blue Peter, and I'll show you what I mean now on this set. I think I'll probably have to cover up my eyes and stick my fingers in my ear, because I can hardly bear to look at it, let alone listen. Richard?
Oh, there you are, John. I've been looking for you.
I know they got lost.
I'm not surprised.
Tell me, shall we go to the studio first of all?
Well, no, I think we better go to the newsroom first and have a look at what's going on there.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
Yes, well, this is the newsroom, John, and this is the core of the news operation, really. There's a television camera there, as you can see.
And this is where they do the news headlines.
That's right.
Yeah.
We stand over there with all the chaps in the background who are writing the news.
I find that a bit off-putting, actually.
Do you?
Yeah, I would.
Well, it's, you know, it's
With the
real.
clatter.
That's what's really happening.
There's this atmosphere as well.
Yeah.
It's quite an atmosphere. Everything's working.
Now, this is where the news comes in, as it were, the words, you know. They come from the news agencies and correspondents all over the world.
Yes.
And in that form, what we call tape, you see.
And this goes to the BBC One News and BBC Two.
Yes, that's right. 2 copies of everything that comes in here.
So they don't have to fight for it then.
That's right. Now, if you go over here, this is the BBC Two desk over here. And they're preparing for Newsroom at 7:30, which is a half-hour programme. Good whack of news live every day.
Yeah.
And another 5 minutes later on. There's the editor, and there's John Timpson, very familiar face, presents on Newsroom, and he writes, you know, some of the stuff himself, working from the tape there now.
Yes. The majority of the news is this written by the editors and the sub-editors.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. And over there you've got the sub-editors for Newsroom, working on the stories, using the tape that we saw coming in, and shaping up the stories for the evening, deciding what sort of film they're going to use and how they're going to use it.
It's quite a job, isn't it?
It can be quite complex, yeah. And this is the desk where the BBC One News is being prepared for tonight.
Yes.
And this is Tony Bloomfield, who's the editor for the day. This is John Noakes from Blue Peter.
Hello, John.
And just looking around, you know, to see what goes on
I
here.
see you're all very busy. You're building up to...
One of our more hectic moments,
Yes.
this is, yes.
Yeah.
I better leave you to get on with it.
But Tony's really in charge of the whole output for the day. You know, he decides what goes into the bulletins and how we cover the items and everything else. So, you know, he's really
Quite a job.
Getting it all into a pint pot.
Yes.
And this is where we sit, John. You better sit down if you're in the hot seat there.
Yeah.
And a copy of everything that's written by the subs comes into this tray here, you see. And if you come into the newsroom, say an hour and a quarter before the bulletin, and you look in this tray, there you are. That's the stuff that you're going to have to read in a few minutes.
Oh, I see.
It gives you a quick look at it in advance.
I didn't have very much time to look at the script because Richard thought I ought to go to the dressing room to make myself presentable, like a newsreader should.
Well, this is our dressing room, John. You're going to comb your hair?
That's what they all say. I thought you would, yes.
Don't usually see you in a collar and tie either.
This is especially for the news, is this?
Oh, you look
With
very
the
proper.
parting, it's going to be bad news, I think.
Yes, very
here
good.
is the news.
Right?
Yes.
Good.
With Richard approving my hairstyle, I left to go to the control room where the director, Athol Charlwood, was holding a script conference.
Okay, have we got everybody? You right, Paddy?
Yes.
Okay, well, we'll leave a couple of gaps for the opening in case the lead change. And we'll start on page 3. We have film titles on reel 1, which is Pos Sep Mag. That's over a still of Nixon on scanner 2. Page 5 next, Medlow. And we cut
This is where we pick up a rather more complete script than we've seen in the newsroom, you see. And as the PA goes through it, we can check off what scripts we've got.
There are gaps in this. Why?
Well, gaps in case of late stories, you know, you suddenly get something flung in a bit later on, maybe.
Oh, I see.
So that's what the gaps are.
This is the start of the news.
Yes.
And This is on still.
That's it.
After that,
Yep.
we cut to film on reel 2, which is colour sep mag. And it starts
I made a careful note of everything Athol said during the script conference, and so did everyone else connected with getting the news on the air. There was less than an hour before the transmission. Only half the script had been written, and we hadn't even started rehearsing yet, so it was important to listen carefully.
Camera 2 for John, and film on reel 1, colour sep mag. Lead snow is camera 2 for John and VT 3. And at the end of that, we cut out on the word cue because the VT runs on and we don't want to see that. 18, sportsman, camera 2, and the film is on reel 2.
Okay, tell
And there's a check cue there, John, at 7 seconds. All right, you'll get a cue on the little yellow button here. Yeah. Okay. And the payoff is just camera 2, and he will say, and that's the news from us, good afternoon.
The script conference over, Richard took me to the studio. I was beginning to get a little bit nervous now because I still hadn't seen half the script.
Fair enough.
There you are. And, I think the first thing we better do is adjust the teleprompter there. It's a bit
The
too low down.
teleprompter is a machine that stands just underneath the camera lens and has the words of the script written on it. This is so that when the newsreader looks up from his script, the words of the bulletin are still in front of him.
Now look, another thing, you better have this telephone a bit nearer, because if anything goes wrong, that's what will ring, you see.
Yes.
Hope nothing does, mind you.
I
And
might
here's some
ring
water
them.
in case you get a bit thirsty.
Yes.
All right? And that's your camera, camera 2. This you look very neat. Let's have a rehearsal now, shall we?
Yes.
Okay.
Before the rehearsal began, I asked Roger, the studio manager, to move a television set to a position where I could see it better.
No, that'll be fine.
Watch the camera, Roger.
You can see the cue lights, okay?
Yeah,
Alright.
fine. The first cue will be...
Well, first cue, you'll probably see the still of
I see, yeah.
Nixon.
Yes, you'll have the titles come up, and I'll give you a cue to start with when the title music finishes.
Fine. All right.
Right, stand by studio. Stand by for cue.
President Nixon has renounced germ warfare and ordered the destruction of all biological weapons stockpiled by the United States. He also said that America...
First of all, I thought the rehearsal was just for me, but scattered throughout the building, there are about 50 members of the new staff, each with a vital part to play. Unlike the cameras in the Blue Peter studio, those in the new studio are operated remotely by a technician in the control room, and my rehearsal was held up while Athol lined up one of the cameras on a photograph. As soon as the camera was ready, I was given the cue to carry on rehearsing.
The BBC have been authorised to establish 12 new local radio stations. They will be at London, Manchester, Birmingham, Blackburn, Middlesbrough, Newcastle, Oxford, Derby, Bristol, Chatham, Hull and Southampton. The locations, in addition to the 8 already existing, were announced by Mr. John Stonehouse, the Minister for Post and the Minister for Post and Telecommunications.
The wrong still anyway.
Have I?
Nixon up again.
I beg your pardon for Mr. Nixon, but he should be Mr. John Stonehouse, the Minister for Post and Telecommunications. He said that all the evidence...
I continued rehearsing for a few more minutes, but as half the script was still being written, I couldn't do it all. And it wasn't long before Roger said the words I didn't want to hear.
Right, that's it. That's all rehearsal, thanks, sir.
That's
We've
all
got
I
no
get.
more film or VT, so...
I finally got all the script, but by that time there was only 20 seconds left before transmission.
Stand by, tell us any reel 1.
Stand by studio.
You all set? Yes. Okay, you're on your own.
15 seconds,
Stand by, John.
Here we go, John, good luck.
10 seconds, 9, 8, 7,
Run reel 1, ready to bring it up with
5,
scanner 3.
4,
Stand by in the
3,
studio.
2, 1,
Both up.
0, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2,
And stand by
1,
and cue him.
0.
President Nixon has renounced germ warfare and ordered the destruction of all biological weapons stockpiled by the United States.
Camera 2
He
next.
also said that America will never be the first to use chemical weapons like nerve gas.
Cut. Stand by reel 2.
Beatle John Lennon
Run reel
who
two.
sent his
3,
NDE to the Queen.
Sound
Two.
coming.
Explained why.
1,
Cut.
0.
Sound up.
Especially
Right, Roger, there's a late
involved in
story
the
here. Would you
opera.
give it to him now, please?
While the film was going out and the studio microphones dead, Roger brought in a late news story that I had to read as soon as the film had finished. This I was dreading.
Began to be ashamed of being British is the out cue.
Be ashamed of being British.
Cut, cue him.
A mystery buyer bid 800,000 francs, which is £60,000 sterling, at an auction today.
For an old wooden
Camera
building
3, we have the map.
Artists such as Picasso, Matisse, Braque, Modigliani, Utrello and poets Mac Jacob.
And I'll repeat that one. Apollinaire used to live or gather. A lawyer representing the buyer, whom he refused to name, outbid the city of Paris for the picturesque Bateau Lavoir.
On the top of Montremer Hill, which municipal authorities said
You'll
they
get
would
through this in a
preserve
moment.
as a national
You're
treasure.
to page 9 at the end of this.
The BBC
Camera
has been
3 next.
authorised
To establish 12 new local radio stations. They will be at London, Manchester, Birmingham, Blackburn, Middlesbrough, Newcastle, Oxford, Derby, Bristol, Chatham, Hull and Southampton.
Cut.
The locations,
Scanner 3
in addition
next.
to the 8 already existing, were announced by Mr.
Cut.
John Stonehouse, the Minister for Post and for Telecommunications. I beg your pardon.
Telecommunications.
They were announced by Mr. John Stonehouse, the Minister for Post and Telecommunications.
He's got it.
Mr. Stonehouse said that all the evidence about local radio so far suggested it had been a great success.
Cut, cue him.
In Yorkshire, snowstorms brought traffic chaos in some places and blocked two main roads, the A170 and the A166.
15 seconds to
Snowplows were called out,
Manchester.
but the RAC warned drivers of the dangers of icy patches on all roads across the Pennines.
3,
For a
Coming to
report
OB.
now over to our
1.
Manchester.
Where is it?
0.
Can't see it anywhere. They're not there. Where are they? We lost the link.
Excuse me. Hello?
Hello, John. We can't raise the OB. We've lost the link. Could you apologise and go on to the next story, please?
Yes, fine.
Thank you. Good.
Well, got to apologise to that.
Page 17 next. Stand by reel 1.
Manchester newsroom. There's too much snow up there. Teachers in England
Run
and
reel
Wales
1.
continue
3,
to stage token
2,
strikes today. In Derby,
1,
they got support from
0.
some secondary school pupils who marched through the town and onto a meeting of teachers. Many primary and secondary schools there had to be closed.
Coming to
Cue at
studio
11
queue.
seconds.
10 to go.
In Leeds,
9,
over
Coming to
3,000
camera 2. Stand by reel
teachers went
2.
to work this
6,
afternoon, and 85,000 children were sent
4,
home. Elsewhere,
3,
thousands of pupils
2,
missed lessons.
1,
Cut.
0.
Oh,
Super.
that's the news for now. Good evening.
Fade to black. Wow. Thank you very much, everybody. We got through it.
Oh, very well done, John. The trouble is you're too good. I've lost a job, I reckon.
I don't think so. I'm off back to Blue Peter. Richard, thanks very much. The new seat's all yours.
It's very nice to see you, John. Thanks for coming.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh, has it finished? Oh dear, I hardly dare look. But I must admit, I think I got a little bit better the more I practiced. But the man who was sat behind me, biting his fingernails, was one of the BBC's ace newsreaders, Richard Baker. Hello, Richard.
Hello, John.
I was terrible, wasn't I?
Well, I think you got very good towards the end. In fact, I was getting very worried about my job.
Oh, I wouldn't if I were you. But later on, I found with these terrible French artists' names, they were real tongue twisters. Do you ever get your tongue twisted?
Well, I do my best not to flake 'em off. I mean, make a fluff.
Make a fluff. Well, what about these letters about me not speaking properly?
Well, your only trouble, John, is that you've got a Yorkshire accent, but you can't help that, can you?
No.
But it makes it a bit difficult for us Cockneys, see, because we can't cotton on, right?
I can't understand the Cockneys either. But I thought I'd compare Richard's pronunciation to my own, so I borrowed this machine down here. It's got 6 lights on here at the top that light up as I speak into this microphone. I'll just switch it on, and there you see the lights start to go up. The light down this end comes on as my voice gets lower, so that gets the low notes. The light up here hits the high notes. That flashes on when I do that. And of course the middle lights pick up the middle register in my voice. All these knobs and dials here are mainly just to set the machine before it works. Well, in order to make this machine work properly, I've got to get Richard now to say a word. And when he says this word, the lights will light up in a certain way. They'll have a certain pattern behind them. And when I say the same word, they should light up with exactly the same pattern and in the same order. If they don't, I've said the word wrong. So, Richard, would you like to say a word?
Yes, let's have a go. This is a fairly simple word. Wandering.
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 Try it once more, shall we?
Yeah. Is it?
Wandering.
Wandering.
Ah, yes. Now, look, we're getting that one just on the end there now, because I've got a very bass voice, you
Yeah.
see. It rumbles away a bit. And you've got a slightly higher voice, so you get the ones on the other side a bit more.
But I was actually saying that one right, wasn't I?
Oh, you were absolutely
Yeah, yeah.
right. But, of course, some people would say wandering, wouldn't they? Wandering.
Oh,
And
I
then you
see.
get a different pattern of
Yes.
light. Use only 2 syllables instead of the 3 in the
Yeah.
word. Let's try another word, shall we? Simple one. Twilight.
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 Yeah, that's all right. You see, if you missed the final T off, then it's twilight.
Yeah.
That one wouldn't light.
I
It's a
didn't
very
get-
good check, isn't it?
I didn't get that end one up, did I?
On whether
'Cause-
you're enunciating
yeah.
properly. Very good check.
That's fantastic, Johnny. 2 words right in 2 attempts. Fantastic. Try telecommunication.
Hey? Well,
He's
you're
going mad now.
Telecommunications.
Telecommunications.
Patience.
Right, Richard?
Telecommunications.
Oh, you got it all wrong, pal. Oh, that was all right. Richard, thanks very much for coming along and doing this with me. And I don't think I'll lose my Yorkshire accent next
Well, I don't think you should.
Oh, good. In the meantime, we'll be back again on Thursday, and you can see what happens when I went to Wales with the Blue Peter cameras to film some rather unusual dogs.
I'll also be having a go at some magic. I'm not going to tell you what it is. You'll just have to watch and find out for yourselves.
And I'll have a model railway layout in the studio. Not the Blue Peter one, a different one. You can see why on Thursday. Till then, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.